Look at me when I speak to you." The queen's voice cut through the winter air, sharp as glass. But the royal guard did not move. Not a blink, not a breath. Around them, the palace courtyard went silent. The crowd, the photographers, even the pigeons in the air, everything froze in that impossible stillness. Queen Camilla's gloved hand trembled with outrage. How dare a mere soldier disobey a direct royal command? What she didn't know was that this moment, this single defiance, would become one of the most unforgettable lessons in the history of the crown. It began on a bitterly cold morning at Buckingham Palace. The sky was a dull gray canvas, the kind that seemed to swallow sound. The courtyard shimmered with frost as the royal guard assembled, rows of scarlet and gold, boots clicking in perfect rhythm. Every step, every motion was precision, perfection. And at the front of the line stood Sergeant Arthur Hale, 15 years of unbroken service, decorated for loyalty, feared for discipline. He was the kind of man who believed rules were sacred, that the guard did not move for applause, only for duty. That morning, Queen Camilla had decided to oversee the inspection personally. It was supposed to be a display of authority, a reminder that she was not just the king's wife, but a monarch in her own right. As her carriage rolled into the courtyard, the crowd erupted in cheers. Cameras flashed, and soldiers snapped to attention. All except one, Arthur. He stood like a statue, eyes forward, unshaken, even as the queen herself stopped directly in front of him. "Soldier," she said coolly, her tone slicing through the chill. "When your queen approaches, you acknowledge her." Arthur didn't blink. He didn't even breathe. The queen stepped closer, her heels echoing against the stone. "I said, look at me." Still nothing. A hush fell over the crowd. The commander shifted nervously. The aides behind her exchanged terrified looks. Camilla's jaw tightened. "Are you defying me?" And then, at last, Arthur spoke. His voice was calm, deep, unshaken. "Your Majesty, I am obeying the oldest command in the book. The guard shall not move, speak, or turn his eyes, not even for the crown itself." The words hung in the air like thunder. The queen blinked, momentarily speechless. A ripple of whispers spread through the crowd. Her pride burned hotter than the winter wind. "You're telling me you won't obey a queen's direct order?" Arthur's gaze stayed fixed ahead. "Ma'am, I serve the crown, not the comfort of its bearer." That sentence hit harder than any shout. For a moment, Queen Camilla's power, her jewels, her title, her presence, meant nothing. Because in that instant, everyone could feel it. He was the one holding the higher ground. The ceremony ended in awkward silence. The queen walked away, her face pale beneath her hat. Cameras caught the tension, but no one dared speak. Later that day, behind the tall windows of Buckingham, she sat alone. The echo of his words wouldn't leave her mind. She was angry, but beneath the anger, something else stirred. A sting of realization. She had demanded respect, not earned it. All her life, Camilla had fought to be accepted by the public, the press, even her own court. Every step had been a battle to prove she belonged. And now, a single soldier had reminded her what true dignity looked like. Not taken, but upheld. She whispered to herself, "He didn't refuse me. He reminded me what loyalty really means." The next morning, the palace guards received an unexpected order. Sergeant Arthur Hale was to report to the Queen's private chambers. The entire regiment buzzed with speculation. Some said he'd be dismissed. Others whispered that he'd be punished. But when Arthur entered the room, the Queen wasn't wearing her crown. She was dressed simply, standing by the window, hands clasped. "Sergeant Hale," she said softly, "you stood your ground yesterday." "Yes, Your Majesty." "You disobeyed me." Arthur met her gaze for the first time. "No, ma'am. I obeyed the rule that protects the throne, even from itself." The Queen drew a slow breath. The humility in his voice pierced her. "Tell me," she said quietly, "why did you not even look at me?" Arthur hesitated, then spoke. "Because respect isn't shown by bending the rules, Your Majesty. It's shown by standing by them, even when it's hard." The room fell silent. Camilla lowered her eyes. "You know," she murmured, "I spent years trying to command respect with titles and crowns. But you earned it with silence." Then, to his astonishment, she stepped forward and extended her hand. "Thank you, Sergeant," she said, her voice steady but soft. "You reminded me that a crown is only as strong as the honor beneath it." Arthur bowed his head. It was my duty, ma'am. That day, word spread quietly through the palace. The queen had thanked the guard who defied her. And from then on, at every royal inspection, Camilla changed one small thing. Before she passed the front line, she would pause and give a subtle nod of respect. A gesture no one else understood, except the guards who had seen that morning unfold. Because sometimes, history isn't written in wars or laws. Sometimes, it's written in the quiet courage of those who choose principle over power. When a reporter later asked the queen about that moment, she smiled faintly and said, "That soldier didn't humiliate me. He honored the uniform and reminded me what the crown truly stands for." And that's how one man's silence taught a queen the sound of true respect. If this story touched you, subscribe and comment your country below. Because sometimes the strongest voice is the one that refuses to speak.